Yep.
And you guys get backfill. Right? Oh, what was that? That was weird. I guess it was an echo for a second. All right. So obviously, Other Dust is a post-apocalyptic game. So this will be fun. Just kind of give you an overview, and obviously, I'm kind of recording this because it's interesting. Now, I'm showing you more of a map than they actually let you see. There's a player version of the map, but I thought I'd show this to you because it's kind of cool. This is called the Biogrange up here. This is Old York, Renaissance, Ascension, Sanctuary, Irontown, the Monastery of St. Lee, whatever that is, the Altoona Deathlands, Delphia, DC, and you guys are located here on the peninsula. And this is a bunch of change that's gone on. These are big hexes and stuff like that. So one hex is 20 kilometers, trying to give you a view of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually give you backstory. And I'm only going to do this because for the obvious reason is what's your motivation, right? So I have to kind of set the stage, you might say, right? So I'm just kind of let you know. And then it's truly a sandbox thing. And when I say a sandbox adventure is that I guess it's a choose your own adventure thing. So I have 4 options for you to do stuff. Okay. So we'll go with that. Okay. Here we go. Ready?
Gotcha.
And boom. Let's go down. Let's close this. Well, let's close that. We don't do that right now. All right. Ready? So in the peninsula, there's an area, and I took this off Google Map, obviously, a thing called Glenhaven, right? I'll explain the importance of Glenhaven. The peninsula became a very, very important part of what happened after the big scream that occurred across the galaxy. It messed a lot of stuff up, and basically they had these high orbital stations that the guns were turned by the crazed, and we can decipher that as we go, and you can pick that apart and start learning the mystery behind that as it goes. But essentially, it laid waste to the entire Earth. There's a couple places that no one cares about, and one of them is the peninsula where Salisbury, Maryland is. It's not a high target area. So
hey, we still have a Subway and a Dunkin' Donuts.
There's a Dunkin' Donuts on its left. I'm just kidding. But it was like,
nice.
So just kind of let you know, it was not as hit as those giant populous areas. So I put it on a geographical map, and obviously this area has a lot to do. And we'll look into it. So this is talks about the scream. All right, nuclear holocaust, starvation, water shortage decimated all large world cities. The U.S. Northeast cities greatly were affected. The Delmarva Peninsula was protected by wind patterns from much of the radiation. It blew westward, so it was kind of like saved, I guess, in a way, right? So after about 10 years after the scream, in which things went really bad because the psychics that still really been found out what happened there, there was a massive migration onto the peninsula. It's called the influx of the change. And we say the change somewhere mutated by nanites, which something has to do with the black dust. Now, these psychic phenomenons were out there, and this has to do with stars without number, but you got to know that the idea is that some of them, which became called the crazed, took and twisted a technology called high shine. And what the idea behind it was a nanite protection force in which something bad would happen. Let's say a viral attack or a radiation attack or something happened. These nanites would come and fix things: trees, plants, animals, humans, anything, right? Well, after the scream, some psychics literally died on the spot. Some of their heads blew up. Some of them went deranged, crazy, become cult leaders, and some of them turn around and change the high shine into this thing called black dust. And what happens is it doesn't play by the rules, and it mutates things, okay? And groups of people, swaths of people affected by radiation or otherwise, and the nanites, became called the changed. And so a lot of areas like in Annapolis, Baltimore, D.C., they started migrating into the peninsula. So the forced the Delmarva Council to send a group of 100 soldiers on a one-way trip to destroy the Bay Bridge, since that was their entrance point, okay? The other area was so vast and irradiated because of the winds, they didn't think that was an issue. It was just the bridge where people were crossing, right? So then it became the 15-year war. The Delmarva Peninsula was unified to keep the changed up and set fence walls at the top and the bottom peninsula. So basically, they tried to enclose it to prevent bad things from happening. try to move this along, right? So from 2680 to 2822, 142-year war, all right? Kind of puts things in the timeline. Because food and water shortages, enclaves from the peninsula waged a series of wars and skirmishes. Dr. Davis at Glenhaven constructed a nanovirus that prevents the Haishan event from occurring and inoculated the Glenhaven enclave. All right, now the Glenhaven enclave, they are called null mutants. That's what you guys are. If you look at your character sheet, you got bonuses where you shouldn't get bonuses. No one has a mutation that's in the crew. All right, basically you're pure blood humans. You have not been affected by this high shine nanoparticles, right? She also produced a second virus called HA784 in its vaccine, decimated opposing populations with Ebola type symptoms. This is dark. But anyways, the effects basically ended this giant war. And she's moralized by the David Davis MedTech wing in the Glenhaven, right? So another thing happened south, and that's the geography is Norfolk, Virginia Beach was so irradiated that it's laid dormant for 160 years. And then they started moving above into the irradiated areas. Even then, it's pretty nasty down there. So the furthest Glenhaven outpost is Camp Kiptopeke, and informs that the Bay Bridge Tunnel was overrun, and that's been recorded as the Norfolk invasion in 2832. All right. So let's take a look at Glenhaven, what it offers people, or basically you. You actually grew up and has been raised here. This is your home. Okay. Just letting you know, this is a fenced in community. It's got high walls all the way around. I mean, it's like military grade fencing. It's like we built a border kind of thing, right? These right here are Outlook, and I'll show you what each one of these things kind of look up, the general floor plan right here. But it has everything you need to have a home, okay? And I have another illustration that explains what all is located here, all right? First of all, at each one of these tower spots, right? It's called a lookout house. You always have 2 guards posted at all times, okay? They're basically, as far as characters go, first level slayers. All right. They have a bolt action rifle and at least 10 rounds, a compound bow, and 12 arrows, and a marine life. But the idea behind it is like they do have a spiral staircase that leads them up. They have a place. They're always up there, always searching, looking outward for some sort of invasion that may occur. Right. This is home. This is the way we live now. Right. Looking at the rest of it, the reason why Glenhaven became such a perfect location. Right. We'll give a snapshot here. The high school that's up on the corner became a tech resource center. They basically took all the classrooms and they modified it to do different levels of tech work, TL1 through 4, right? Up here, there's an agricultural center, okay? And there's a bunch of fields out here where the high school used to be over on this side. This is the old high school, became a middle school, but the other high school, that literally became hydroponics and an agricultural center, right? And basically they have an educational center for different things. And down here is a giant Wicomico Civic Center. It was updated, then it became just basically a grain storage facility. What happened here also is that it became a haven for trade. Of course, entrance is only through one location, all the way up here, literally entering Glen Road. Otherwise, there's no other place to actually enter this facility, right? On top of it, has its own water treatment plant right next to an area that is like a park. And so actually they have animals, cows, goats, chickens, and whatnot. But basically there's an ecological balance between how many people you have and how much food you produce. But they do trading for things, usually for tech and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a minor oasis in the middle of a disaster zone, okay? As a snapshot, contains 800 adults, 1,600 children, and 40 aged people. It's a democratic society. They vote on important matters. So it has an old Terran factory farm that it started like that out towards the agriculture. And basically the survivors came in and it made things where it was. There's a general dislike for mutants of any kind based on the fact they were inoculated against any kind of high shine mutations, right? This right here, you don't have to worry about these stats right now, but it's basically giving a breakdown as far as a tier city. Its tech level is really low. However, as far as things go, they are kind of like a haven in the sense that they actually are able to produce their own food in a given situation, right? So your NPC is Jenkins, right? Who was supposed to be Chuck, but he's not here, so he's now an NPC, right? Uh, he does advanced scouting missions. He also has maps of different locations and knows where certain tech can be found. In fact, he goes out by himself, roots around, runs back, and he does reconnaissance all the time. So he came back looking for certain things based on some information he got. Now, this is kind of a weird scenario, right? So this is your characters. Your father, Hamish. I'll blow you up. There you go. You are of a religious enclave called the Mike.
Oh,
Time to ad lib, bud. I'm doing it
sure.
all. Got to do some lift here, buddy.
Oh,
What's your
sure.
religious enclave about? I'm writing it
Oh,
down. You got to make it up.
sure. Yeah.
Go.
No. We study the light, and we are all beacons of the light. And what we are against is darkness and the black dust. So we are all trying to be light to each other, and our motto is true happiness is living in service to others.
Okay. So, you came from
I take that back.
The monastery of St. Lee?
True happiness is living in service to those of Glenhaven.
Nice. So
At this
you
point.
actually came down with another. Oh shoot! I didn't mean to do that. Back. Right. So you came down with another. How would you say? Priest. What was his name? Do you remember?
What
was his name? What was the name of the other priest you came down here with?
Father Norbit.
Norbit?
Yeah, Norbit.
Father Norbit. Okay. And he had problems with you. What was the problem that he had with you based on the way you were preaching to people? There was something you were doing wrong. He didn't like it. He complained about it.
No, okay. So Father Norbit also believed though that truly the we shouldn't look beyond our own walls. We should only preach to those within the walls. And Father Hamish thinks that we should go out and save everybody. I want to reach those beyond these walls. But Father Norbit, who's a little bit older, maybe a little wiser, I don't know, but he's a little more conservative. And what he understands that probably Father Hamish doesn't understand is that there's only so many people that can live within this community. Otherwise, the community will fall.
Now, you both came up from the monastery, right?
So we weren't from here. We're from somewhere else.
Well, allegedly, it's a little weird. Like, so if you look at the monastery of St. Lee, you basically migrated down through here, but there was like this. It's a pilgrimage. In fact, their religion, they're trying to apostolize and send out to everybody, right?
Yeah.
And so you both came down this way. You guys kind of butt heads a little bit because he likes to stay within the wall.
Yeah,
right?
and
like
I want to save
out.
everybody, even those that might have some mutations.
Yeah. So basically, it's kind of against the theology of the actual place, as far as they're just like for mutants. So he doesn't leave the. He's like, look how clean cut he is and everything like that. Where you look. You go back to see what the way you look like. You look like you've been out there on the land doing your thing. So, yeah, you guys have a little bit of problems.
Gotcha.
But it's like anything, right? Michelle's not here. He's drunk.
And can I ask a question really fast?
Yeah.
So the mutants, the people who have the mutation, were I don't remember specifically what you wrote, but were they infected with the Ebola type virus? Did they carry the Ebola type virus? Or
no, that was just released to the people from Norfolk. For those that came up through the bottom to Norfolk, they were released with the Ebola type virus to take them out. all of Glenhaven was actually inoculated against it, so they never got the symptoms.
I see.
But viruses get attenuated as it runs through time. So whatever that was, how many years and years and years ago that took place, we can go back. That was the 100, what's 2882. So it's been 10 years since then. This is 2832. So whatever virus is actually probably run through the population, it gets attenuated as it goes through. So it's not going to be as virulent, and probably wiping out an entire population is not going to occur. So you kill the host off too quick, you can't do mutations, and therefore it pretty much dies out. That was kind of what happened. Does that make sense? Yeah. But that was only south.
Gotcha.
Right? That was done. And actually, well, no, that was the entire peninsula. But things have moved in. That was a while ago.
So what year is it now?
2832.
Yeah.
Okay. 2832.
Gotcha.
Here. That was Jenkins. All right. I'm sorry, 2850. I got to update you. I'm sorry, wrong. It's been 18 years since that. Sorry.
All right.
So this has been a secret thing. You guys are in the know. Actually, Hamish is in the know, and of course, Dorsey is. And Dorsey, we haven't touched your backstory. We didn't know where you came from and how you got there. Do you want to explain that?
Sure. I was
Dorsey,
living.
Yeah, go ahead.
In Delphia, actually. And my family made it across the bridge before they took that out. But then I'm very wary of people with mutations because they attacked the rest of my family and killed them all. And so I gradually made my way south, and because of my skills with weapons, was allowed into Glenhaven.
Okay, you have been acting as a private guard, to kind of put that out there, to the actual political structure of Glenhaven. So that's the reason why you're sort of in the know right now. And they bring the idea of Father Hamish into this entire thing because the seer, long story short, they did find, quote unquote, a precog, right? And they just call them the seer. All right. And the problem here is that it basically just stays in a room by itself constantly in darkness, and now and then it opens a curtain and looks out upon. It actually has been with them for 2 years. In fact, what happened is Father Hamish brought them back and did not know they were a seer when he brought them in. And that's probably part of the problem, the strike between you and Father Norbert. And the reason why is that he thinks it was a bad idea because it's not of their religion. But you on the other end is like, why can't we use this power for good? Well, the seer has noticed 4 different trends coming up in its visions. Okay. One of them, there's a secret storage military facility under a National Guard armory, and it's out on Booth Street. And Jenkins has gone out there, scouted out, came back, and he says he did see something out there that they haven't seen before. It was a single solitary military grade robot out in that land. And they're thinking for some reason, some chamber's been opened and something's been released. Okay. The other thing that the seer has announced is that the water filtration process actually is filtering out black dust constantly that may fall from the sky and get into the water system. It's now backing up. They do know that there's another place you can go that probably has extra filters, at least something that can help clean things up. And so that is a possibility of a mission. Now, this is totally sandbox. You guys, it's like choose your own adventure here, right? Another thing, there's an enclave building to the south. Now, this was after the Ebola thing, so they don't know what that is in the south, all right? And in the north, there's actually something that this thing has seen. It's called a ball of faces. It keeps saying there's a ball of faces that is coming down, and it's going to basically destroy Glenhaven. So they give this thing to Father Hamish, and seeing in his great infinite wisdom which of these is the most pressing,
Yeah.
And which one would you guys want to try to rectify the best?
Well, if we went with the least threatening, I mean, the enclave to the building is south is that's, I mean, that could be investigated later. We haven't seen this new species forming to the north, coming to anywhere close to our walls, correctly?
Nope.
Okay. But we have seen something, a robot moving in the storage in the National Guard Armory. But honestly, what concerns me the most is our water filtration system. If that goes, the entire community goes. I would say the water filtration system needs to be. I mean, how bad is our water filtration system right now?
That would be okay. Well, I tell you what we're gonna do. I'm gonna make this, even though
I mean, because basically everything, the other three are potential threats. Number
right,
two is a threat.
right. So we're gonna do this. This is Jenkins, and I don't
Okay.
really I'm gonna put up a, how would you say, a what's that thing called? A schmeppy, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to all right, let's log off. I'm not gonna log back on. So we're gonna do this for rolling and
I
stuff.
mean, you know me, I'm willing to do any of them. It's just, but
Oh,
you're
I don't
asking
care
what
which
is,
one you do. It
yeah,
doesn't.
what is the
Nothing
greatest threat?
Right,
Yeah.
we're going to do how would you say, a not that one. Let's do this one. Boom. Okay. So we're going to use a map. I'm not like putting a bunch of maps in because this is way too hard to do. So we're going to do under dust. All right, here we go. I'm gonna grab this thing. I'll put this.
Maddie's calling. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead. It's in this thing. Hey, let's break here. I'm going to send you another link. I'm going to go upstairs for a second. Let me send you another, and we'll get back and start it. And we'll actually start with things. You're going to actually, do you have the scrounger?
I have the speaker, but I can definitely get the scrounger.
Here, I'll send it to you. Again, it's in the thing.
No,
So
it's
that
on the. I'm there. So
okay,
Z
cool.
scrounger is Zenkins. I got it.
Okay, so a lot of his skills will have to be used. I was really counting on him, and obviously it would be very useful. So we're going to break here, and we'll be right back.
All right. Hey, John said he was going to send us another link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so I stayed on just so yeah. So I don't know if you want to. Yeah, we can turn this off, then wait till he sends us another link, then we both be on.
Sure. Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. You're welcome.